Okay, here we are. Everybody, welcome to the gray area. This is Codependency Kate, and I'm so excited today because we have the Shawna Lander, aka Shawna the Mom.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is the gray area. So what I try to do is help people understand black and white thinking to gray area thinking because I think that's what helps people restore their relationships. And so, or at least like have peace or restore themselves in their relationships. And
Mhm.
so it's the black or white thinking that I think keeps people stuck in whatever place they're in. So we're going to talk about that later as it comes to what a lot of what you're doing online. And so how I wanted to start today was I want to hear, I know we've like connected on TikTok. This has been
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah, you posted something that was like put in very clear layman's terms what it is that somebody is going through in their mind when they have to cut contact with the parent. And I was like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, this is like everything. You're describing it to a T. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. And I want to hear, I mean, I know what you do, but I want you to tell
Yeah.
everybody what you specifically post about. I mean, you've been posting on TikTok for what it's been like 4 years now.
Yeah, for a long time now. The content's recently changed. So I am an actor and I now post basically what amounts to a one-woman show. It's a one-woman skit series that explores motherhood and relationships and family dynamics. So
Quiet, my show is on. Yeah.
yeah, characters with wigs and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I remember seeing you on my For You page a couple years ago and then obviously seeing you more and more now. It's super
Yeah.
exciting, all the
A
success
couple
you've
of
had.
years ago, thank you. Yes, a few years ago, I started off posting motherhood skits about like what it's like to become a mom. And it was just this general mom character and scenarios that any sort of mom might or new mom would encounter. And yeah, and that started getting traction. And
It
then
really resonated with people.
yeah, really did. Yeah, because it's a weird thing becoming a mom. It's you go from a regular person, a normal a normal like autonomous human to
Yeah.
like suddenly your entire identity has shifted. And so it's like a really huge change that you undergo and you simultaneously like have to take care of this brand new helpless being. It's a lot. It's a whole
It's
lot.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still in shock from it all. I only have a 1 year old. Your kids are
Oh
a
yeah.
little older now.
Yeah, they're older now.
And so were your skits having to do with what you were going through then or more of what you felt when you initially became a mom?
Not only what I felt when I became a mom, what I noticed, what I
Mm,
noticed people were going through. A lot of times my skits would deal with like the emotional pain of having
mm,
nobody understand what the situation is like. And so you're going through your day-to-day life, and everyone across the board is just sort of insensitive to the fact
yeah,
you are dealing with this giant thing, this huge change, and the care and survival of this brand new being who's
right.
the most important person in the entire world to you, you know? And so it's a lot and it's really the word might not be invalidating, but it can be at least isolating. You feel sort of like no one cares
Yeah.
that this
Yeah.
big thing is that I'm going through and nobody seems to recognize that I'm doing my very best and nobody everybody has an opinion on how I should be doing it better and that I'm doing it wrong, you know, and so it's a lot. And
Yeah.
um I am not somebody who takes that on, who felt like everyone was right, um, and that I was doing it wrong. I didn't internalize any of that, but I did
Yes.
notice it happening, and I was like, oh, this is funny. Yeah, so then I was able to like translate it into skit form because I could see that women were being affected by this every single day. So like I'd be out and about at the grocery store, for example, and I would see it happen to somebody else, and I'd be like, "Oh, I've felt that. I know what that feels like. I've been in that situation." And I could just, see it written on the mom's face and that she was offended by this little interaction. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
um, I wasn't emotionally going through the types of themes that I was exploring,
At
but
the
I
time. Yeah.
had been there.
So you said it's not invalidating, but it almost is by its neglect,
Right.
almost like by
Yeah.
not acknowledging it on the scale that it's happening, it feels invalidating. That's
Yeah.
invalidating doesn't, I don't know if it has to be like an active verb, like where someone's actively invalidating you, where it can be an invalidating environment. I don't know. And so it
That
sounds
makes
like,
sense.
well, and so it must feel amazing to post these things that you personally went through and that you observed, and then it's resonated with so many people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was absolute fact.
Yeah.
It was happening. I saw it happening.
Yeah.
And so when I started talking about it in
Hmm.
this way, making skits, um, it I was so thrilled to be able to validate
Yes.
the people who were feeling icky,
Yeah.
moms, new moms, people who are feeling a type of way about it, but didn't have the words to explain that this is invalidating or
Yeah. Like a real
isolating.
thing. Yeah.
So it felt amazing, phenomenal, that anyone resonated with it and that it helped in any way.
Yeah, and still
Yeah.
helping. So, and
Yeah.
you're saying too, your content has evolved. That's how it
Yeah.
originally came to be, is
Mhm.
about motherhood specifically, and the just huge shift from being, like you said, an autonomous person into going through the biggest shift in the
Yeah.
history of the world from
Yeah.
an intrapersonal standpoint and interpersonal. And so how has that evolved over time?
So I was doing these standalone skits. They're sort of like, complete stories in and of themselves, just little scenarios. It's sort of evolved slowly over time to include more familial type of interactions
Hmm.
because, as we all know, when you become a mother, you've got this extended family and everyone cares so much about the baby. And so these little isolating and validating scenarios happen with your loved ones. Not that anyone is necessarily doing anything on purpose,
Right.
mean to you, but as we discussed, it's a monumental
Yeah.
shift for
Hmm.
a woman to become a mom, and then on top of it, you're taking care of your heart and soul,
Hmm.
outside your body.
Hmm.
And it's a lot. It's a lot. And so then, as I made those skits, I created a husband character, and then I created it wasn't a Barb character at first. It wasn't a mother-in-law character when I first created her, but I created this woman who was a matriarchal family member of an older generation who was just sort of invalidating. And um, she really resonated with people. And people really immediately were like, "Oh my God, it's my mother-in-law" in the comments. And I was like, "Oh, okay, we hit on something here." Um, and so she started coming back and
Barb,
Barb would come back. She became a recurring character along with a John, um,
the
who I
husband.
named John because my husband is named John. And I named the mom Shawna because my name is Shawna. And so that's just what I did.
Yeah.
When I first started, I didn't know it was going to turn into a skit series that I would play online. I just am Shauna, and me, Shauna, I'm doing these skits. And so the character was named Shauna before before it became anything.
Yeah.
And the husband was named John because my husband is John. It just was a simple um I don't know, name assignment.
Yeah.
And then Barb, and then after Barb, I think came Jennifer because
Mhm.
I would get DMs. Sorry, I'm going like this because there's something flying.
No, you're
Get
good.
DMs from people. And I started getting a lot of, hey, I really like the Barb character. She's cool and all, but could you do like a super invalidating peer, like a sister-in-law or a best friend or somebody who like just does not get it and thinks they could do it better than you and thinks you're dumb and overreacting about everything and doesn't care about the schedule and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oh, that's fun. What a fun
Mm.
character to introduce to the world.
Yeah.
Um, and to be able to play off of as the mom, because like, oh my God, fuck you, go away,
Yeah. Yeah.
awful to get from somebody who's your age and just
Mhm.
doesn't get it. Oh my God, stop. So
Hmm.
that's how Jennifer was born. And then it just sort of, once Jennifer was born, I was like, won't it be fun to turn this like selfish, self-centered, I could do it better than you person into a mother? Wouldn't it be fun to put her through pregnancy and then subsequently motherhood, and watch her change? And so then that's how the what I do now, the skit series, was born because it started with her getting pregnant and what ensued thereafter.
Wow.
For
Well, so you and I, like how we, I don't know if there's not really a crossover because we have very different content. I'm educational, you are
entertainment.
entertainment. But I think in audience, I've had some people that come on my page and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like the education behind this recent skit that Shauna just did.
Yeah.
And
See, because there is crossover because you work with estrangement, right?
yeah.
Like
Well,
your wheelhouse.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that's
So,
estrangement going on in the series.
mhm.
Parental estrangement is a beast.
It's a beast. There's such a need for this information too. I don't think, you do the entertainment side of the family system, and I don't think people knew that there was like a science to this. Like there's family, well, I don't know if science is the word, but there's theories and there's whole therapists modalities based on this kind of thing. And specifically around, I get a lot of mother-in-law questions. Is that as opposed to kind of interpersonal things with people's own family, it's more questions or
How to
issues.
navigate
Yes,
this
extended
woman
family stuff.
not, yeah, yeah, she's not
Barbs.
my mom. And so how do I do this?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
specific, and if they have a mother-in-law like Barb. So, when it comes to your own like mission with this, is there a deeper purpose for you in posting this type of content?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Fabulous question. Thank you for asking. So Barb was born. Barb was created. I don't think that Barb is an evil person. I think that Barb has had 50 years 60 years of being emotionally invalidated in her personal experiences. And I did a throwback episode where I went through Barb's upbringing and her early years as a mom and stuff. And sort of showed that like she's been emotionally invalidated every step of the way. And then not only that, like, for her, it went further. She was even emotionally abused. And then so then she became emotionally abusive and emotionally invalidating, but that is not a something she consciously does. That
Yeah,
is because she cannot access her own emotions. She cannot self-regulate in any her own emotions to bring herself from up here hysterical back down to a place where she feels emotionally safe. She doesn't know how to do that. It was never modeled for her, never taught to her, and then she didn't have any time to try and figure it out for herself because then she became a mom and was having to emotionally validate this other being outside of herself. We all know based on the family relationship dynamics as they are now, if you follow the story, that she didn't do a good job of validating her children either. She completely invalidated them as they grew. And then now we have Jennifer, and Jennifer is just beginning her growth,
yeah.
emotional growth as a woman. She just began it when she got pregnant. It did not had not kicked in before that. She got pregnant
Right.
and suddenly began to like, oh my God, I'm feeling things. And then now she has the baby. And so now her emotional growth has been sort of stunted, stopped. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
because she is dealing with the fact that she's got this other baby to, or I mean, other entity to take care of beyond herself. And because this thing is so important and needs so much, this thing, the baby, we as mothers commonly um, go into survival mode, and
Mm-hmm.
everything going on in our heads and our bodies takes sort of a back seat, so that
Mm.
we can care for the baby. Um, that is then reinforced by the people around us. Either the people around us can help us, can give us some time and some space enough to get out of survival mode in order to process what just happened, having the baby, and then, and sort of heal and grow and sort of,
Recalibrate.
yeah, and like put assess.
Mm.
you know, where we are in space and time, like
Yeah.
gets that because it takes
Yeah.
a little time, it takes some effort, it takes some reflection. And if you are constantly in survival mode because you have to do and be and and always you're always on and you never have a moment to yourself, you just can't do it because you got to take care of the baby and they come first because they can't take care of themselves. um the mission is and has always been to validate that mom where she is and what she's going through and how isolating it is and how invalidating it all feels. Because it feels like nobody cares that, oh my God, this giant thing just happened to me. So that that mom can take even just, the 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 90-second little skit that I make, can take that little snippet of time and feel sort of validated and grounded in the experience and in what is actually happening emotionally. So she doesn't become a Barb.
I'm like honestly getting emotional
Are
hearing this.
you?
I'm
Oh,
like,
don't,
I
that's gonna
don't,
make me cry.
being a therapist, I have to like, I'm always like checking this. But it's just everything you're saying is what you're describing that you're doing is you are like helping people heal from and prevent trauma. Like that's actually what you're doing from a clinical, like, I add the clinical lens to things.
Yeah,
Um, what trauma actually is an event or something that happens that cannot be processed in real time. Like that the heart, so like our emotions cannot process in real time. So when you're saying that a mom, when we get pregnant and we start feeling things, we're finally like, we're forced to be in touch with our bodies and
yeah.
we're like hyper aware, whether that's anxiety or just
It's like
like we
somatic
have to be,
therapy
yeah,
on accident.
literally. It's
Yeah,
it's literally exposure therapy on a somatic level. And if we've ignored or suppressed or been in so invalidated our whole lives, and then pregnancy, like it literally forces that. And what you're saying is like, so when people have to take a back seat on themselves because then they welcome the baby, and even pregnancy can be so much about the baby. It's about the baby. And it's like, hello, like
yeah.
look at the person, so,
Yeah, the
um,
entire process is and I keep saying the word invalidating. I wish I
but
had
that's
a
the
better word
word.
for it. It
But
is
that's the
so,
word.
yeah. It divorces a woman of her personhood
Yeah.
because now you're pregnant and it's about the baby. It becomes about the baby the second that there is a baby in there.
Right.
It yeah.
And to everyone else too.
Yeah, to everyone
And
else.
to everyone else too. And so it's a mind fuck of an experience for the woman going through it because it's like, is this all that I am? Like I've been fearful that this is all that I am and my value, my worth, and then now I'm actually seeing it in real time at every doctor's appointment when every person that reaches out to me, how's the baby doing? Like how, it's how are you doing, but it's really about how's the baby
How's the
doing it.
baby?
And then
Yeah,
birth is this like, I mean, it's a traumatic, it can be just a traumatic experience, but again, where you're just forced to face all this physical, somatic feelings, emotions, just the physical experience of it. And
yeah.
then it becomes, like you're saying, fully about the baby. And so
Immediately.
the fact that your videos like put little like, I don't know, it's like drops of water. I feel like to
Mhm.
these women that like are
These thirsty,
starving,
thirsty women.
so thirsty, like in the desert with this
Emotionally
baby.
thirsty. Yeah.
Yes, literally. And you're saying you're like naming it, you're putting like a visual to it, you're just validating it with this reality, even if it's in this like little, it's not a skit, but it is a skit, but it's not a skit. I
Yeah.
mean, I just think you're doing so much more than what you even understand. I mean, you're accomplishing your mission, like of like, yeah, preventing barbs, but like you're doing it in such a like in a real way that's actually you're actually doing that.
Thank
I
you.
just want to tell you, like you're actually doing that.
Thanks.
Because
It is
yeah,
intentional. It's 100% the goal. And
yeah,
always
is
has been.
to prevent barbs.
Although the goal is, I would say, multifaceted, because also the goal is that I've always wanted to be a movie star. And then I had a baby and I was like, well, I can't go be on set. How do I do this? And so then I also was like taking a look around going, okay, this is nothing like anyone ever described it to be. And so then I was like, aha, I need to start making content. I didn't think of it as content at the time, but
Right.
I
You
need to
need an
make a
outlet.
show or a movie or something because nobody gets this right.
Yeah.
Everybody describes motherhood as either this romanticized, beautiful, picturesque, like highest self version of yourself that you aspire to be, and it's like loving and like sweet and adorable, and oh, the little cherub, and you know what I mean? Like it's completely
Yeah.
romanticized, or it's the butt of the joke. And
Hmm. What do you mean by that?
the butt of the joke, like it's
Yeah.
there's the harpy mom, or like the mom is annoying and she's always on my case.
Oh.
um
Mm.
she nothing is ever good enough for mom, and she's like pulling her hair out because she's so stressed, and she becomes this side character in like the main character's story. um but really, that woman has been telling you for 3 weeks to pick up your dirty underwear from your
Right.
floor in your room, and so she's like, like going nuts. And
Hmm.
that poor woman, and you're just like off living life, and she takes care of it for you, and you never give her a second thought. And I'm including myself in this because, like,
Hmm.
as a child, you're not supposed to give her a second thought,
That's
but
right.
the entire world
Doesn't give her a second.
doesn't
Then,
give her any
yeah.
thought.
Right.
And the entire world of media and entertainment doesn't give her any thought.
Right.
The second, anyway, okay, so I could go
Well,
on about this for forever. So, but like it's a multifaceted, I have many goals with what I'm doing, but yeah, that is
well,
one.
and I think what you're also doing, because I talk about this all the time too, is that it's not your kid's job to validate your experience. Like you just said, like it's
Yes,
your kid's job to be a kid and to live their life.
yes,
It's the world's job. It's your family's job. It's your partner's job. It's
yeah.
your friend's job. It's Barb's job. Like it's literally everybody else's job but your kids.
That is so difficult
Yeah.
because you are at home with the baby.
Yeah.
You are not with the world. Those other
Mhm.
people are not
They don't know. Yeah.
constant.
Yeah.
The
They're
baby
not.
is your constant. And
Right.
so no wonder the Barbs of the world who want validation extract it from the baby.
Hmm.
If the people around you are not actively lifting you up,
Yeah.
and it happens way too often, but if they're not, then you turn to the only other source,
Hmm.
which is the baby, because if you don't have time and space to do that internal work, that reflection, um in
Hmm.
order to like integrate everything that you've gone through, you turn to the baby. Oh,
Right.
and that's bad for everyone.
Hmm. Yeah. So Barb's not even being aware of being conscious of how invalidated that, I think you adding such a human layer to Barb is really good. I think with my with the estrangement content I do, it's so easy, I think, to look at when people are experiencing this in real time to just say like, emotionally immature or just or narcissist or something with Barb without putting context to it. So I think humanizing Barb is really important. And I'm so curious. I know on my platform, I don't know if Barbs are like self-realizing.
Oh,
They're like,
that's
oh,
fantastic.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's to the point where they're like, oh, this is still happening now, and I am doing this now. I don't know if it's at that like that level of real
Yeah.
awareness, but yeah, I don't know.
You
I
don't
think that's
know until you know,
right.
and then what once you do know, you've got a choice to either do a little research and find out a little bit more so that you can maybe do better, or double down.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
hmm.
you said that people are noticing some barbs are noticing and starting to self-correct, and that's
Hmm.
phenomenal. I have had some DMs of people that say, "Thank you so much for your content. I am realizing I'm a Barb, and this is what I've
Wow.
done to my relationship with my daughter so much better because we've had this talk and I've sent her some of your stuff, whatever they say. I have had those DMs. Yeah. So
Wow. That's
they are, some
amazing.
of them are realizing, yeah,
Hmm.
it is so difficult to face the fact that you have hurt someone
Hmm.
that you love so much,
That you love more than anything
more
in
than
the entire
anything.
world, that you've dedicated your entire life to.
That is so hard
Hmm.
to do. And
Hmm.
so the people who are doing it, the people who are able to do that, oh my God,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
such props to these
Yeah.
people because I can't think of like a harder thing to do. Emotions are so hard.
Hmm.
Um, it's really difficult to face yourself and be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm the bad guy.
The shame.
The
Yeah.
shame. That's so hard to do. You have to also be able to continue to do the work
Yeah.
and and like stay humble, because it's not that like, oh, I've realized what I did and then now I'm like all better.
So preventing a barb for you is like validating yourself, being able to validate yourself and like being a validating presence to other moms in your life. Like, what would you say? How do you prevent being a barb when you say it's an
Like
active process?
in
So,
yourself, in your person.
yeah,
Like, how do I stop myself from becoming a Barb?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think um, that you have to understand yourself, your own emotions, understand what it is you're thinking and feeling. And then you have to be able to lay down some boundaries for yourself, um, and then stick to them. You can't control what anyone else does or says or how anyone treats you, but you can control your like how you handle it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so Barb really feels victimized because no one ever validated her, and she's been through so much. So at a certain point you go from, yeah, you were a victim of that. That is true. You go from being victimized to then identifying with being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see and seek victimhood in like everything that you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's a very like how to put it, Kate, like a very self-centered way of moving through the world, but at the same time, you're not self-protective. You're not
Mm. You're
dealing with
enmeshed.
yeah, you're not dealing with the world, you're self-victimizing at some point. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to recognize what's going on with you and then also like what's going on in the world, like how are people treating me and what is happening? And then sort of at some point you have to stand up and be like, "Hmm, I don't like that treatment." And then there are recourses.
Okay, you know what's so interesting about that? So it sounds like you're talking about enmeshment. Are you familiar with that term?
I know that term. Yeah. I'm not familiar in a clinical sense,
Of course.
but
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah,
term. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just like being one with everything around you. Like that's codependency in a way too. Like if somebody does this, I react, it's one thing. Like I'm just kind of reacting to everything happening. There's no separation like you're talking about where there's the world and then there's me and there's a space in between. There's an interaction between the two. It's
Yeah.
just kind of one thing.
Mhm.
What I find, what you're just saying to me is like what I feel, what I'm seeing online with these estranged parents is they're for the first time ever saying like fuck these kids, like they were ungrateful, like they're basically were enmeshed with them and then
Uh,
now they're separating, like you're like, so I'm just bridging what you're saying to like what I'm seeing now.
yeah,
And now they're like finally standing up for themselves. They're finally like not taking shit, but they're doing it with their kids. Like they're not necessarily doing it with any of the original sources of this
right.
invalidation or like powerlessness. They're like reclaiming their power with in this estrangement.
See, you're already a barb if you've gone that far because you in order to not become a barb, you have to recognize when the baby is a baby, when the kids are young, that oh no, I am getting my emotional validation from the baby,
Yeah.
and that's not the source. Um, And and so if you get to where your kids are in adulthood and you are now going, "Oh, they're so ungrateful and I'm standing up to them. I'm not
No,
mm,
that but this is what's
that's
happened.
the emotion you have created a scenario as the parent where the child has had to emotionally validate you their whole existence. And so now they're not doing it anymore. They're not emotionally validating you anymore. And you feel mad about that. And you feel like they're being mean to you. And you feel like they're being ungrateful. And you feel like all of this is happening to you. And so now you're going to stand up and put some boundaries down when really, when they were little kids, you should have had that separation already to begin with.
Yes.
And now you're just gonna poor your poor adult children, you're just gonna invalidate them even further. You've been invalidating them their whole life because they weren't allowed to have emotions. They had to take care of yours. Ooh, you're a
I
barb. You've
know.
been a barb. Sorry. That's Barb 101.
Yeah. Man, you're just like you're putting so I think of somebody like Barb who just like there's no internal reflection happening and there hasn't been from the beginning. It's been all feeling. And then there so
Very
like
little. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
very little. Yeah.
There's
And so everything that you're putting a name to, I'm thinking of like, would Barb even understand this language that we're even talking in? You know? No. Like all these language, I feel like I've heard so much on my page because what I talk about on my page is like if you are a barb, if you're an estranged parent, like this is what happened.
oh
This
yeah.
is what happened. Like you were enmeshed and now they're adults and now they don't want to be enmeshed with you anymore, so they're having their own lives and that feels like rejection. You know, so I'm putting names and like zooming out and putting this in perspective and it
Yeah.
you know, I'm just like, do these people I feel like this is just psychobabble. This is not even putting language
Yeah.
to this is blaming. That's how they take it
That's how
too.
they
It's like
feel.
that's
Yeah.
how they feel. It's like you're
So
saying that
here's
it's all my fault.
Yes, and that's because they've never been emotionally validated a day in their life.
Yeah.
Um, and so they are now they're the victim, you know, a barb is the victim. So it becomes about um emotionally validating them where they are. That's really hard for you. I see that really pains you.
Hmm.
That must be so hard to feel like everyone hates you. You know, it becomes about emotionally validating them where they are. Um, and then and it's like heavy work because then you peel back the layers of the onion, so to speak. Because once you're okay, check, we've got emotional validation where you are. That's that first skin of the onion, you know.
Hmm.
But you got to keep on peeling them to where they can finally get all the way back to where it began for them. Um,
Because
yeah,
that's the thing is they're like, and I don't, we're just talking, I'm not trying to like make a point really. I'm just like
yeah,
trying to bridge like your understanding because you have such insight into these characters at this, obviously you created them. But
yeah,
like so I'm like talking to you as the creator of the characters almost, like especially when it comes to Barb. But
yeah.
these parents, they say, I forgave my own parents. Like, I saw that my own parents weren't perfect and that they did the best they could. Why can't my kids do the same for me? And I'm curious, like, from being the creator of Barb, what would she mean by that? What is that what's really happening there?
That's probably really true. They probably really think that they did forgive that parent. But that's because it is easier to forgive all sins and ignore the pain that it caused than it is to deal with the pain that it caused. That
Mm.
allows you to bypass the hurt and pain and trauma of what you went through with your parent. You say, well, they're fine. And then you don't have to do any work on yourself and what you've done now as the
Ah,
parent.
yeah. Well, and I want to
And
ask
they
so
want
many.
their kids now, sorry to interrupt that, but they want their kids now to just, it's not, why do we have to talk about it? This happened a million years ago. I forgave my mom. Let's just get over it. We can move on from here. I won't be mean to you anymore. You know, like that's what it is. And you don't want to, it's hard. It's hard to dig into your emotional makeup.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Hmm.
And
So you're saying it's a bypassing thing. When they say
yeah.
that, they
Oh
don't,
yeah.
that's just like, and when I hear that too, I'm like, I wonder who bombarded you with that information. Like, where did you learn that?
That you have to forgive your
Did
mom. Yeah.
did your parents tell you that when you had an issue with them? Like, are you
Yeah.
repeating you know what I'm saying? Because you obviously got that message. That wasn't just self realized, I don't think. I bet it, because that was
Because there's not
culture.
a whole lot of reflection happening. So no, it's not. I mean, and if it
Yeah.
is, it can be potentially a byproduct of aging. It can be that like, oh, I'm seeing this parent of mine begin to age. And so
Mm,
I have a certain amount of um compassion for them and their mortal life, you know, the fact that life will end at some point, and so I'm letting go. I'm gonna not think
mm.
about this anymore. I'm gonna let go of the resentment. You know, that's a minimum amount of reflection, but there is reflection in that, and so it can be that too. Um, but it also, you know, you can't discount the fact that it is really convenient that you can just be like, well, I forgave them. I don't have to look at any of that. That's
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah, right. So what's when it comes to like no contact and cut off and like John with Barb and Jennifer with Barb and Shauna specifically with Barb, when it comes to like estrangement, no contact, self-healing and self-health, do you have an opinion about all that? I know this is a big question, but this
A
is
really
like,
big question.
it's a big question about like no contact and again, like not to ask you something that would reveal the plot or storyline, but like I feel like there's a lot of Shaunas in my that follow me, and their big question is like, how do I deal with a Barb? Do I cut them off? What's the gray area here?
Are they asking from the daughter-in-law point of view or the daughter?
Yeah.
So they're Shaunas, they're not Jens and
Yes.
Sean.
Right. Right.
Okay. So, I mean, in my opinion, it's simple. This is my
Okay.
opinion as a person outside, not simple, not simple, but it's I have a hilariously, I have a black and white opinion about this.
Oh. Oh,
When
good. Okay.
when it's your mother-in-law, the primary relationship is between her and her son.
Right.
So that is his to handle.
Yeah.
You, as the daughter-in-law, should not be cutting anything off. That's not,
Mm.
you're not the primary relationship haver, you know?
That's a that's a family systems informed
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Well, what about the daughter-in-law who just interacts like the Barb takes
Is the
care of
main
the
point of
kids all the
contact.
time. Yeah.
Main point of
Like
contact.
so the
Okay,
day to day is, they live nearby and
yeah.
there's just more interaction with.
Well, in that case, you uh and the husband or the partner, the child of the actual parent, the two of you need to get on the same page um, about what your boundaries are with this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So, I want my child raised like this. Um, like these are the rules for my child. I don't know. Let's do something a little, let's simplify it a bit. So like, okay, nap schedule. We need the 3-year-old to stop napping by 2 p.m. or they will not sleep. But
Yeah.
grandma lets them nap until 5.
Hmm.
That's a big issue, right? That's a big
Yeah.
deal. And every
Yeah.
time mom, daughter-in-law tries to talk to mother-in-law, grandma about it, grandma always says, "Oh, I raised my kids," and she's been invalidating of the needs of the family
Yes.
scenario. Um, and you're so controlling, you're so manipulative. Don't threaten to take the kids away from me. I watch the kids every day. I do you all kinds of favors. Grandma's now feeling like emotionally um, threatened and underappreciated, undervalued because she's contributing so much. And in her mind, you're criticizing the way that she does it, but she did this much longer than you. She has way more experience than you do, and so she's feeling some type of way about it. And she has all these opinions, and you're the mom, and you're like, "That's my child. We need this. We need this from you." It's not about, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or I'm saying that you're stupid or anything. I just need this from you. It's just what is needed for the situation. You got to get on the same page with the husband, with the mom's child, as to like what is necessary and what the what course will need to be taken if grandma is not able to respect the boundaries of the situation. If you can't get on the same page, okay, that's overly simplified because nobody is considering going no contact because of a nap schedule. But like,
Right. Right. Right.
um, if you can't get on the same page, the two of you, then there's all is lost. There's nothing that can be done about this woman because in essence, this adult child needs to claim their adulthood um, and assure that this parent of theirs understands that the dynamic in the relationship has changed because now I'm an adult. I'm an adult now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, it should have changed. The mom should have recognized and evolved, but it didn't, which is why you're having the issue. So you have to get on the same page with the child of the parent.
Yeah.
Talk with my
So
hand.
so this is John's stuff. Like
Yeah.
so this mother-in-law stuff is really marital stuff.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. When it's
Um,
mother-in-law. Yeah. For John, So in the skit series for John, John was the one that wanted to cut contact. Shauna was the one that was like, no, family's important. I can endure everything she's dishing out. Um, and that's because Shauna herself has emotionally validating parentage.
Right.
And so she's never really had to deal with um she doesn't have a Barb.
Okay, so that's I think a really good point too. So, um, Shauna in the situation, so the daughter-in-law is okay and can tolerate this separate issue because she knows that this is John's issue with Barb, this is John's issue with his mom,
Yeah.
and she has her own wellspring of life, like fountain of like water, if we're
I love
using
the
the
way you put that wellspring of life. Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, validation, that's what it is, like to our soul and our emotions is like, yeah, I totally get it. It makes sense. Someone's taking care of you. You're not doing all this work. So, okay, and I wonder, so we're just talking, but if the issue that one of the core issues with a mother-in-law is not necessarily only a marital issue, maybe, but it's also a lack of what you're getting from your own people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
So in the scenario that you gave, it's a commonality, at least with American families, that like this is your source of childcare, you got
yeah.
to work, the husband's got to work, uh, somebody has to be there with the kids. It's that this is a common thing. Yeah. So if you don't have any other option, and this is your only option, that you have no choice but to deal with it. That's not what's happening in the skit series. Shauna
Right.
has other outlets.
Right.
Not,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so Barb's
If she
behavior
didn't,
doesn't, yeah.
yeah, if she didn't. But and then Shauna's also always had has always seen Barb for her ridiculousness and has always had boundaries with Barb. She's always been like,
No.
you can't,
Yeah.
it's nap time. She doesn't feel bad saying no to Barb. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel bad for telling Barb that she's being ridiculous because it's plain to her that Barb is being ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas John feels
Mm.
guilty and put upon, and like he has to play a game in order to manipulate Barb into what it is he needs her to do without there being some sort of power struggle. And so John is really finds finds being around his mom increasingly emotionally difficult. And
Mm-hmm.
then the last straw was that his mom ugh, was was terrible at his kid's birthday party. And,
Ah.
yeah, and cut his kid's cake. And that was fucking it for him. She cut
Oh.
the cake before it was cake time and gave cake to the other little kid that had been all day long going, "Get me cake." And everyone was like, "Not yet, baby, not yet." Everyone else was on board and understood what was happening with the cake requests. We're gonna have cake. We know you're excited. She's a little 2-year old. Cake is very important. And in order because she wasn't feeling because she was feeling unimportant and sidelined at the party, she cut the cake and gave that baby some cake
Mm.
just to get a reaction because the reaction is validate something in some way.
Right, but she's not, would you say she's consciously doing this? Like, is there two things happening where she's behaving and there's a voice inside her head, like where she's deciding or on whether or not to do it? Or is it just like purely like action and reaction? That's always, I think, the
This
question
is
for,
pathology at this point. I
mm,
I think that she's conscious to it to some degree in the moment.
okay.
She's conscious in her decision making, but it's like I'm just she sees red or she snaps and does it. And then after the fact, sh immediately lies to herself.
Okay.
And so it's self-protective, the lying to yourself. We can lie, every single one of us can lie to ourselves and has lied to ourselves. We've
Mm-hmm.
lied to ourselves. It's self-protective to be like, those people don't hate me. It's somebody's having a bad day or whatever, bad
Yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah.
about me, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. I don't know. We lie to ourselves. We just do. Um, and it's self-protective. So immediately she goes into, what? I had no idea. I didn't know. I
Yeah.
what? I didn't hear anyone say no to her for cake. Oh my gosh, no. If I had known, I wouldn't have done it. Um, so it's both.
Yeah.
And
It's both.
yeah. hmm
Oh
And
my
that's what
gosh.
I mean, it's all gray, everything is a gray area. There's no um it's all that in human behavior. There is
Yeah.
no like one answer.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. That is so big. Because I feel like people listening, hopefully, like the Shaunas in this situation, where dealing with a difficult mother-in-law, you've just like illuminated just through your story of your skits and your characters, you're illuminating what health actually is. Like in this situation, Shauna dealing with this with John dealing directly with Barb, like his mother. And Shauna and John have to have the relationship to be able to talk about things too. I think that's a big issue is mother-in-law issues like you're saying are really marital. Like the solution is through the marriage becoming coming together and dealing with it with the mother and the child and not the in-law.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that's I'm wondering if that's like one way people lie to themselves about this, like saying it's the mother-in-law because it's hard to look at your own marriage.
See, this is what we said earlier. It is hard to
Yeah.
look in the mirror.
Yeah.
It is hard.
It's
And
hard.
part of that is, yeah, like if you are partnered with somebody who is not being a partner to you, who is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
meeting up with you in this
Yes.
situation, that is a huge problem. And that
It's
is a
the
marital
problem.
problem.
Yeah, because the marriage is the foundation of the family, like with the kid. And the other thing that I think Sean is like, if is that if the mother-in-law is the issue, looking again, the hardest thing to do is look at yourself and say, what other resources do I
Yeah.
have here? Like, am I so bitter and resentful because this is my only option? And I'm like looking at Barb as my own. I know this isn't the skit situation, but like, is the thing with Barb so big because I don't have my own resources of people that are validating me? Like,
Yeah.
is it just easier to talk about my mother-in-law because she's obviously, like, there are obviously issues here and it's the
Yeah.
most like
Biggest
overt.
headache. Right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
there's like the real issue too, or like the what you actually have control over is your other resources, and that's your marriage and your own people outside of your
Right.
mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
think, yeah,
100%.
because
Yes. And
because
that's why
I
the Skit series has developed into not just the Shauna character talking to the Barb character, which is how it began, but now
yeah,
it's grown past that to include the husband character and the sister-in-law character and the brother-in-law character, and now everybody and your own mom, her own mom, Shauna's
right,
mom,
right.
um, and now it's a whole family systems scenario. It's
So
relationship
good.
dynamics, and it is evolving.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I can't wait to see. Like, I feel like I want to like have you back in a month or something, or like, a couple months to like talk about what's even happened and the evolution. Because I think the evolution, the gray area is what missing a lot from people like our content. It can be very just like, hey, it comes off as things being fixed and not like here's how things actually change and evolve and where there's possible movement in a good way.
Mhm.
So, again, I just think what you're doing is so important, and I think I don't know, you got to sleep well at night, knowing that like you're literally like you're actually preventing trauma with how validating you are in your skits. I mean,
I
I'm
really hope
so
so. That's
serious. I'm
wonderful.
so serious. That's actually what you're doing. Um, oh my gosh, this was so fun. I mean, it's so like I feel like I could talk about all this stuff forever, and I'm
I
thinking
know.
about
Me
just the
too.
people listening, but also I think people are so interested in you. And I think it obviously shows a lot about your own health that you're able to see all these points of view and even like create a scenario where things evolve in the way that they do. I think that says a lot about you and your own ability to look in the mirror. And I don't know, I just think that's super cool. So,
Appreciate that.
um, well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to see you grow. Is the bigger goal like to act like so to go outside of these skits and like I mean have your own show or like
Yeah, that would be
write a
phenomenal.
movie?
Yeah, I would love to do that because this is one dynamic. This is
Yeah.
one scenario, right, that I'm able to hit with the
Yeah.
skits. There are so many things that women go through. And I have
Yeah,
time
right.
for all of it. And so yeah, I want to tell all of the stories. So and on a bigger platform. And so it affects worldwide change. That's like the ultimate goal. It's that's it. Yeah, yes.
Well, I think people would freak out if they saw this like on a show. I mean, I because it is a show, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. I think so many people are rooting for you. You're doing something so important, and I think that's the cool part about social media and like podcasts and stuff too. You can like again, we're doing what you do. It's like we're checking in on these like little in these little parts of your own journey, and
Thank you. I think what you're doing is so cool and so valuable, and I appreciate the perspective of you working at this as what did you call it? Uh, like you're trying to heal people's relationships or help people heal their relationships.
yeah,
What was the term you used?
just restoring relationships.
Restoring.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, you're a restoration master, and I think
yeah.
it is so needed and so important, so necessary in our society. I think a lot of barbs um, don't know how they're getting in their own way,
Hmm.
and so the fact that you're helping people to see what's happening and take better steps,
Yeah.
better choices. Ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
your content, I feel, is really valuable and really has resonated with me.
Thank you. Well, let's continue our little friendship here. It was like so fun to meet you for real. And thank you for your time. I know you're so
Oh
busy
yeah.
doing a million things. And we'll just look forward to Barb and Jen, everybody evolving John and just how it keeps going. So thanks for coming and we'll talk again soon.
Okay. Bye.